curtindo a Cinematologia. Vocês acompanharam pelas nossas redes sociais um pouquinho da cobertura que nós fizemos no ATX Festival, que aconteceu em Austin, no Texas. Um festival que reuniu um elenco de diversas séries para painéis, entrevistas, para falar de estreias e novas temporadas. E nós estivemos lá, conferindo tudinho, e queremos falar sobre um dos painéis mais emocionantes do festival, que foi o painel de Grey's Anatomy, com as atrizes Kim Raver, que interpreta Altman, e Camilla Luddington, que interpreta Joe Wilson, falando sobre o episódio 19 da 15ª temporada. Um episódio extraordinário. A roteirista do episódio, Elisabeth Finch, também participou do painel e todas se emocionaram muito ao falar sobre ele.
I was pissed at the reaction and I rage emailed.
O episódio é centrado na Joe e em uma paciente que dá entrada no hospital machucada e um tanto quanto desnorteada, traz uma história forte e impactante, abordando o tema do abuso sexual, violência contra a mulher e estupro de forma extremamente relevante, e foi realmente muito emocionante. A cena final no corredor do hospital, simbolizando a solidariedade, o apoio e a união de todas as mulheres, foi de arrepiar. Além da cobertura do painel, nós fizemos também uma entrevista exclusiva com a Kim, onde ela fala sobre o seu novo projeto, o filme Tempting Fate, baseado nos livros de Jane Green, que ela produz e dirige ao lado do marido, e fala também sobre o episódio 19 de Grey's Anatomy e a sua personagem na série. Bora agora conferir a nossa entrevista.
Olá pessoal, estou aqui com a Cinematologia, estamos aqui com a Kim Raver, a nossa querida Altman de Grey's Anatomy, e a gente vai bater um papo bem bacana.
I love it. I'm like, I don't know what you said, but it sounded good.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for being here, taking the time to talk to us.
It's my pleasure.
Do you actually know that you have a lot of fans back in Brazil?
Oh, it's exciting.
Yeah. Okay, so first question, a little bit about yourself. Have you been at the festival now, so how do you like it so far?
It's been amazing. It's amazing. I've done a couple different panels, a lot of sort of female empowerment and female directors, and we just did a great thing for Grey's Anatomy about, episode 19. I don't know, silent all these years, which is an incredible episode. So it's really fun because it's a whole environment of sort of creativity and other TV shows, and it's really it's been a great just 24 hours.
Okay, that's great to hear. I know you are co-producing some films with Lifetime based on the novel of Jane Green. Could you tell us a little bit more how you got involved with this?
I actually, I'm executive producing, and I directed with my husband the first one, and then my husband directed another one, and then we had another great female director directing the third one, and me and my producers that I'm working with, we found this book, and it was by Jane Green. It was called Tempting Fate. I'm going to talk maybe a little bit to you, Oz. Is that weird? Because I feel like that, or is it okay?
I mean, that's fine. That's fine.
So I found this with my partners, this book called Tempting Fate, and so I went to Lifetime because it's really a story about this woman, and we got Alyssa Milano, who's just an incredible actress, and it's about how she's going through life, and she's married, and she, makes a drastic mistake, and her life explodes, and then she has to repair it. And I just thought it's a great place for Lifetime because at Lifetime it's stories about women, made by women, and I feel like I've been acting for so long, to have the experience of directing was incredible.
Okay, great ending to the question, because my next question is, you had to pick, which one would you think you like best, acting or producing?
I don't think that I have to pick. You know what I mean? It's like, someone once said to my kids or whatever, because they move a lot, and you can like certain things about each one, and I don't think that's what's so great about being a creative person in times today, is that one just educates me in the other. My 20-something years of acting, I think, is what hopefully made me good at directing and producing, and so I love it all. I love producing, I love directing, and I love acting, and I hope to kind of keep. I'm going to try, writing is the next one, but that one terrifies me.
Cool. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about Grey's Anatomy. Now that Teddy and Owen are getting somewhere, we think, do you personally think they'll actually get together? Do you root for them?
It's interesting that you're not quite sure. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Let's see. I have to be very careful what I tell you, what I don't tell you. Look, I love what they created between Tom and Teddy. I think that's great. But I have to say, it's been like 10 years in the making of what Owen and Teddy have.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that they had that incredible moment after giving birth. And what I love is that, Owen, when they say, what are you going to name the baby? And both Owen and Teddy simultaneously say Allison, it just means that they get one another and they understand one another. And I think one of my favorite things about the season was that it wasn't pitting woman against woman of like, who's going to get the guy? Because it wasn't so much the season about who's going to get the guy, but it's about women having each other's backs even when you might want the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that was really important to both Katerina and I in the sort of evolving story of the love triangle.
Okay, thank you. About episode 19. It's been called the most powerful episode. And your performance was brilliant.
I know, it's very emotional. It's very emotional.
I can imagine how you all handled it. And so how was it for you? Like, how did you prepare for that? How did you handle all of it?
First of all, I hear you, and like I see you, and I get emotional. I think it's such a huge episode because I think women for so long have not felt heard and seen for who we are and what we kind of go through, where so often we are not heard, not seen. And this episode, in the most incredibly crafted way, validates us as women, and I really feel like times are changing, and I feel like this episode is so important because we need to say, I hear you, I see you, I believe you. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of like, and also women are realizing that we don't have to pit each other against each other. We can be supportive, and there's room for one another. And I think that that's what this episode, I mean, it's obviously so much deeper and much more complex, but at its core, that is a central theme. And I was, from the moment I read it, the table read, weeping, and the performances in it were also extraordinary. I mean, we were all hugging each other, like, after every scene. It was the most respectful, closed set. I didn't, in terms of prep, it was more about, I felt incredibly present, like the most present I've ever been, because I don't know, like so many like maternal and female instincts of like protection also came up, and like so it wasn't so much prep because I felt like I've lived in Teddy for so long, but I wanted to protect Camilla and make sure she was okay. I just wanted to make sure everyone was okay.
And on that note, would you think it's important to have more episodes I'm not saying that emotional, that level, because that was huge, but something more supportive of women, showing more of what we go through.
I think that's happening.
Yeah.
I think what's really incredible is I feel like I think for the longest time, and it's really interesting because if you want to look into it, the Gina Davis Institute, she, from Gina Davis, the actress, from like Thelma and Louise and like all of the incredible movies that she's done, she decided to get data showing how little stories are told from the female perspective, and also how little also the jobs are for women, in entertainment. And so I feel like they're now, because movies by women and about women are actually making money, and that's like, unfortunately, money speaks to people to make change. And so what's, and all the time, like when, like one movie that's like about women and made by women, they're like, oh, that's a fluke, and now they can't say that anymore, because more and more there's a huge audience. Look at the fan base of Grey's Anatomy, and not that it's just for women, but like there are a lot of women's stories in there, and and Wonder Woman, and also inclusivity, and Black Panther, and so I feel like, yes, it is very important that we tell more stories about women and for women, and I feel like we're on that path now.
A little bit more about Grace. So if you had to pick a favorite moment from this last season, what would it be?
Favorite moment from last season. I don't know. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's hard to pick.
I mean, definitely episode 19 was a favorite experience and moment. The whole thing, the hallway, that hallway scene.
Yes.
In terms of Teddy, I think the bonding with Amelia, and then I think the moment where, Teddy has her daughter, because I feel like, for so long, Teddy really she was sort of always giving to everyone else, and I think that's a very female thing to do, like constantly take care of everyone else, and I feel like that's from the first moment where she gets something that she's not sure how to do, but she receives it, meaning the baby, like something like, so that was a kind of a pretty amazing moment.
And how has it been being on Grace? Like, what do you like the most about it?
I love everything about it. I do. I love it. I literally, there's also coming back to it, there's just such an amazing, the scripts are amazing. I love, the words I get to say. I love Teddy. I love I love getting to act with, Katerina and Kevin McKidd and Greg, and I love being, when Chandra Wilson is directing. It's just literally a dream job. We laughed so much on that. I mean, if you see any of the outtakes where we're being so goofy and dancing, and that's all very genuine, and we all work very hard. But I love it.
It's great to hear. Thank you so much for being here. If you have something you want to say?
No, I just want to hear you speak Portuguese.
Obrigada, gente. Essa foi a Kim Raver, Teddy Altman de Grey's Anatomy.
How do I say thank you? Obrigado?
Obrigado.
Obrigado.